All right. I would like to talk about something that has been very difficult for me to talk about, but I think I'm ready to speak on the topic, and that is labels. That is information that's not clearly being addressed. I've been on a few groups. I'm not going to name many, but I'm here to share my story on things. Not in depth stories, but just enough to get people thinking about something that they may not realize. Um, whether this gets out to someone or whether it doesn't, I don't care. But I'm here to speak up on people that aren't really spoken about. Okay, for some of you know, some people have committed crimes. Some people have not. I give the theory the light theory. We have one light that's on, one light that's not. We are so easily to say the person that's the brightest wins at the end. Why? Because they're center stage. They just show who they are. But then you get the light who hasn't even began to show their light. Why? Because they are on a daily battle struggling to speak. So many people hide in the shadows, not because they're doing something wrong, because they're afraid of speaking in the light. Because once the light is revealed, then the truth is exposed. And why is that? And I'm not talking about exposing someone's sin. I'm not talking about exposing what they did and what they were charged with. What I'm speaking in behalf of is not seeing them for who they are, not seeing the potential of what that person had to go through to be the man or woman that they were set in place. And I've seen it time and time and time again. And if we're a group of people that want to advocate for the voiceless, why aren't we actually doing that? We say we want to advocate for people, but when it gets deep and dark into the charges of things, we don't. And I always feel like people, it's not a judgment call on people, it's the fact people are naive on who truly a person is and what they're capable of. And when I'm talking about, it's labeling people into lists that they committed a charge, but it wasn't even done by anybody. It's false. It's a narrative that everybody has played. It's a narrative and lie to believe that person is the outcast, is the plague one, that you should keep your families far away, but yet we don't even see them as they are. You know, I was remembering when I went for my husband's one trial. It wasn't a huge trial, it was just him getting sentenced, talking about if he does this, this is going to happen. You know, that was very terrifying because I never wanted that to happen to him. But it did. And I'm not going to get into all the things going on with that, but what I want to address is when we hear the charges of someone, whatever it may be, I'm not out here for debate, I'm just speaking on my story of the things I've gone through, and I can't even talk to people and the things that I have been silenced a lot of times because people will see the charge, but they don't see the person. They will read up on your charge and literally pinpoint you as the accuser. They will literally put you in that victim mentality, like, hey, you were the one that did this and this and this. But yet, they didn't do anything. And that's the problem I have with people that come up and want to advocate for people. But yet, what about their voice? And their silence, and they don't even have a voice because they're set in these labels that people in society have brought on them. But then we want to be the one bashing them, condemning them for being an awful human being, but they didn't actually do anything. It's just society's written idea of that person when they didn't even do anything. But they say it's the justice of the peace. They say, oh, watch out for this person next door because they did this and this and this. And why is it other people can get out of prison scot-free, but you got few individuals, when they get out, they have to write a list. They have to go to the registry. And they are looked at as a plague. And then we want to shun them. We want to look at them like they're less than humans, but they didn't even do anything to a victim. But you associate them as they did. I'm not going to get into categories of naming, but there's different levels to different crimes. There's a person who actually did the act, and there's a person who was caught in something that was entrapment. I don't have a lawyer, but I do feel like if I had the narrative, like law and all this stuff, someone could be on the registry for just walking outside in the dark peeing. But we want to identify them as this horrible person that does things to other people or young people, but yet they didn't even do anything. And then they're ruined for life with all the mental garbage from society that has been deemed into them since they committed a charge that they didn't even do. And it was a setup, but then people want to look at them like they're the plague. Oh, stay away from those people. You don't want your children around those people, but yet they didn't even do the crime. But just because they peed in the streets, oh, they're an offender. They're this, they're that. Look at them. Stay away from them. Like I said, I'm going back to the light effect. Whose light is the brightest in the room? And is it the wisest in the room? But we always want to look at the dot in front of someone's forehead before researching, before actually talking to this person. But we can't even do that because it's beneath our integrity. Like, who are we reproving? Looking at this person like they're the plague of the earth, but they didn't actually commit a crime, but they're in this list with 100 of other people that committed crimes. You know who we should be looking at? The people that actually commit the crime. But even in those situations, we look at like an angel, like, I would never do that to anybody. When your mind isn't clear, when your heart's not at peace, when you always want to lift the finger to the better person, when it's not about who's better and who's this, but your person is in the system, just like my person is in the system too, and think, oh, they're the scum of the earth, they're the plague. But what if it was you in that situation? What if you were a wife of someone who was associated as the plague of the earth, but they didn't commit the crime? They were just generalized in a list, and then you go search for them, but they didn't actually do what the list said. They just generally, oh, we can't talk to those people because they're on the list. What if you were on the list? What if your son was on the list, but he did nothing? And then you want to sit here and say, oh, those people should burn. Oh, those people, I can't even sit near them. Then you are the fault to your own demise. When you got problems up here and problems up here and not looking at people at the specific frequency of love. If you talk about forgiveness, if you talk about love, what does that look like to you? You know, if we get all religious here, Jesus actually sat with those people. Not saying necessarily the people with the list, but Jesus sat with the people that people thought were disgusting. Oh, why would you sit with the plague? Why would you sit with the whore? Maybe because he saw the good that they could become. Maybe he's seeing that people put so much on their shoulders. You know, these people that deal with this issue, but it probably wouldn't even faze you, is they deal with mental illness. They dealt with so many psychotic things that happen in their mind on a regular basis that some of you would not even comprehend. But yet you want to look like, oh, who's the brightest light? Oh, we should put everybody on a pedestal. But what if it was your husband in the hot seat? What if it was your husband that was on the list? But he didn't do anything. But clearly the law said he did. And these same people, a lot of these people have the same people in the system. They may not have done that crime. Oh, dare not compare my crime with your crime. But you do it all the time. That's why I can't be friends with certain people. That's why a lot of times I can't even open my mouth to certain people. I would tell them like it is, yes. And then they're mad. Or I just shut them up. So if we want to be a group and a community of advocacy, why don't we do that? Not just be a voice for our loved ones. What about someone who does not have a voice because they're not allowed to speak? Because they've been forth their whole life of these crimes that they didn't even commit. But when you look them up on social media, oh, stay away from that person because they have this and this and this. They did this and this. Oh, they broke their probation. They went to prison. But yet, what if it was your own son? What if it was your own husband? Your own uncle? Oh, dare me, I would be on your team 100%. That's why we are called the outcasts. That's why we are called the hidden shadows people don't want to talk about. And yes, the plague. Anyways, that's enough spitfiring. I am just sick and tired of people putting people in labels. In the sense where if someone committed a crime, but we don't even look at the crime as, what if they didn't actually commit the crime, but they were trapped? What if entrapment really happened? But yes, we put them in this list to say, hey, you're a plague of the scum of the earth, and you got to register for the rest of your life. But why can't a murderer get out of prison, and why can't he register? See the unfair, the injustice things. But this person over here didn't actually commit a crime. They could have just peed in the street. Oh, you're an offender. No, you're not. But clearly you read the charges and you're like, oh my God, I got to keep my kids and family away from them. They're the scum of the earth. I've heard this too many times, and this is why I can't really trust people. I can't really get close to people and mentally struggle with things I can't talk about, because people like this who put people in these narratives as saying, oh, we got to have these people killed. Oh, I don't want to associate. I can't talk to them. But if it was turned around on you, you would be understanding me 100 times better. I'm not saying I'm better than you. You're not better. I'm just clearly pointing out the facts that you have been duped up to believe that these individuals are plagues. But you know what? That's not going to stop me from loving someone just because they had a charge. And we're supposed to be about love and forgiveness. But you can't even put these people in understanding that they are humans just like you. They are spirits just like you. And they are capable of love just like you. And you are all these bullies who want to go around and tell and harass people, oh, those people don't need to be around my family. Well, good, you're not around my family. Yay! And I will not associate with people. And I may be called whatever I want, but at the same time, there is an inconsistency saying, oh, I'm an advocate for people and their family, but yet when it gets to a level of deep shadow work, I can't even associate with those people because they're the scum of the earth. When you deal with people in politics who should be accountable for the things and their actions and lies and deceptions that they manipulate and get around the laws, but we don't want to talk about that. See what I'm getting at? The inconsistency. You want to be so focused on your family that you can't even understand these families that go through struggle on day in, day out with the law, and how much people get hate, bigotry down because they're in this association group. And I've had enough of people. That's why I can't talk to people. If you want to get to the real depths of who I am, you're not going to really understand who I am, because you don't have that access. And when you truly love people, you see them besides the crimes. And we want to put the labels on to say, oh, we can't say this and we can't say that. But when you get someone on the list, oh, stay far away from that person, Susie, because that person did things to other people. Oh my God, we can't associate. And you're doing more harm to your own mental health and can't even extend yourself to people that you didn't even give a chance to love them. You didn't even give it a second chance to see their side of the story. Oh, their side don't matter because they're on this list and they did this and this and this. But you don't even give them a chance to talk. And you know, that's what happened when I went in the courtroom. They don't even give people that have been charged a voice. They just tell them what they did and all this stuff, but they don't even give a voice. So if it was your husband, if it was your child, then how would that work for you? How would you see the world in a different light? But that's not your journey, I guess. Your journey is to be the narrative that everybody's been duped up in believing, oh, these people are animals. Oh, these people, they deserve the death penalty. But you're not, because you're perfect. Oh, not me. Well, what if it was you, lady? Huh, sir? What if it was you? Oh, we don't give a crap about you. I'm not accountable for them. You are. It's like, you get to a point in society that we start speaking up and hearing each other's side of the story. You know, you committed this crime. They said this and this. What really happened? And use discernment. Nobody wants to use that. They just want to hear the gossip. That's all they're interested in. Ooh, what did this person do? Ooh, I can't associate with that person. They're disgusting. But you didn't even hear the story behind what they go through on a regular basis. And a lot of times people don't give a crap. That's the thing. And I can't be with friends, and I can't talk with people about the things that I go through because clearly they don't understand. And I've had many people say, why don't you leave them? This and that. But they don't understand the logic behind the hidden shadow of things. But if you talk about people in politics, they've done actual things to people that they want to cover up. So who's really guilty here? Anyways, that's my word of the topic. And it's not about judgment. It's the fact we can't even sit 5 minutes with someone that they say committed a crime. But we don't want to hear their side. We want to hear what the gossip says.